you can see I have all these grain bags that look fully colonized and maybe, you know, ready to go for something, but unfortunately they're contaminated. You can actually see some starting here. Now it looks kind of white and good. So how do I know it's contaminated? Well, for one, it's only about a week old, less than a week old, and it's already fully colonized, which king oyster mycelium won't do that. It doesn't grow that fast. And when I looked in my fridge the other day, at my liquid culture that I use this from, let's see, I got some condensation on the side, but you can see blue-green mold floating on top. What were probably bright white patches of mycelium made it look good, but after it had enough time floating on top, it turned green with spores. So why did that happen? Well, that was one of the jars I remade after my one jar broke from the pressure cooker, if you remember that. So something happened in between there. What I think happened is that the culture syringe I had, maybe when I put it back in the fridge, it sucked in some air towards the front of it. And that would also maybe explain why I had bacterial contamination in a couple of those petri dishes I did from the culture syringe. But then the later ones I made from the culture syringe didn't have any contamination, which perhaps I just, you know, squeezed it out because it was only towards the tip, and, you know, re-sterilize the tip and whatnot. So what I'm going to recommend doing now is when you have a culture syringe, or maybe even a spore syringe, I can't find an example of it, but that yeah, you use some parafilm and wrap the area where the cap meets the tip of it, and that'll prevent contamination from getting sucked into it. But, you know, this kind of sucks. You know, I always hate throwing out contaminated work. You always think that I got everything right and I'll never have to throw out contaminated grain or whatnot ever again. But, you know, there's always something to learn. But yeah, I'm gonna make sure too. It's like I could have prevented this if I had let this culture grow out a bit more. I kind of jumped the gun with it because I had to remake it. Yeah, but if I had let it actually grow out for probably another 3 or 4 days, I would have seen this mold growing on the top and known that it was bad, and then I could have avoided losing all these bags of grain spawn. So yeah, with liquid cultures, it's always good to let them go for at least 2 weeks, you know, till you have floaters on top growing pretty solid. And that'll tell you if there's any greasiness of bacteria growing on the sides, or you know, mold like that floating on top.